Since Generation 2, held items have been an influential part of the competitive Pokemon scene. But what held items have held up as time has gone on? In today's video, I'm gonna rank the top 10 held items in Pokemon. This list will go off of any held items as long as they were featured in any main series games, even if they're no longer available. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on the vid and subscribe for more top 10s like this one. But without any further ado, let's get right into the list. At number 10 on today's list, we have the Focus Sash. Despite the Focus Sash no longer being in its prime, you're still able to pretty freely utilize this on hazard leads in competitive. Pokemon such as Azelf will typically utilize this in singles to ensure your team has Stealth Rocks up, while denying the opponent of theirs. In doubles, you'll typically see this item ran on any Pokemon team that would struggle to take a single hit, but needs to in order to ensure a certain attack goes off. This would include Pokemon such as Calyrex Shadow Rider, in order to avoid risking speed ties versus other Calyrex Shadow Rider, or Pokemon such as Whimsicott in order to guarantee your team gets a Tailwind up. Focus Sash still remains a fairly strong item choice among frail Pokemon in doubles. But due to the introduction of heavy-duty boots, Focus Sash hazard leads have taken a huge dip in popularity. This generation has shifted into a direction that focuses more so on avoiding hazards altogether, rather than trying to stack more hazards than your opponent. While it still has some purpose in the competitive Pokemon scene, the Focus Sash has taken a great hit to its popularity over Generation 8. Thankfully, its own effect activated, allowing it a chance to stay at number 10 on today's list. Our 9th item in today's list is none other than the Assault Vest. Due to how many ways you're able to actually affect the opponent's physical attack, Assault Vest is a rare example of a way to prepare your Pokemon to handle specially offensive Pokemon. Assault Vest will raise your special defense stat by 1.5 times, while ensuring you're only able to use non-status moves. While this is typically utilized on bulky attackers such as Azumarill or Rillaboom, you can actually see rare cases of frail Pokemon utilizing this item in the competitive scene as well. In VGC, for example, Kartana can actually utilize this in order to check Pokemon such as Tapu Koko, or even the likes of Kyogre. The Assault Vest is this high on the list due to the fact that it's such a unique item. There are so many ways to boost your offense in some way. However, Assault Vest is one of the rare items that not only boosts your defensive stats, but also isn't a consumable item such as the Terrain Seeds. This allows Assault Vest wielders to consistently switch in to take special attacks in order to break past them with one of their 4 damaging moves. Assault Vest will easily continue to shine throughout the generations, but for now, it can reside at number 9 on today's list. At number 8 on today's list, we have one of the surprise hits of Generation 8, the Weakness Policy. While Weakness Policy is far from a new item, the introduction of Dynamax has made this item significantly easier to activate due to the double HP stat. Weakness Policy activates the first time you're damaged by a super effective move, and will boost both of your offensive stats by 2 stages. While taking a super effective attack may sound daunting at first, there are actually easy ways to activate this item, especially in VGC. In VGC this gen, the Dynamax mechanic has offered a way to activate Weakness Policy while taking a very minuscule amount of damage. One of the most popular Weakness Policy users among VGC fans this gen, being Colossal, will typically partner with Sneasel in order to quickly activate its Weakness Policy. Sneasel would typically attack turn 1 with the move Surf, which does at most around 10% to Colossal once you Dynamax due to Sneasel's low special attack stat. This will not only allow Colossal plus 2 stages in both offenses, but also allowing it to gain plus 6 stages in its speed stat all at once. There are other terrifying abusers of this item, such as the Galarian Moltres plus Comfey duo, which activates Weakness Policy due to Comfey having plus 3 priority with Draining Kiss thanks to Tri-Edge. While the strategy is basically the same regardless of what duo you're using, Weakness Policy has become a mainstay of doubles in this gen, allowing it to land at number 8 on today's list. Our number 7 item on today's list is the newly introduced Heavy Duty Boots. Heavy Duty Boots were recently introduced this gen, and they have the ability to completely ignore hazards. This item has had a wide array of controversy throughout the gen, with the vocal minority even going as far to say that the item should be banned from OU altogether. If Heavy Duty Boots are truly this useful though, why is this item only at number 7 on today's list? The biggest sting holding back Heavy Duty Boots is the fact that this is an item that truly only has a purpose in the singles metagame. In VGC, you actually have zero reason to even consider hazards a part of your team building, since games are too short to warrant setting stealth rocks. While this list isn't solely about what items are strong in VGC, our other entries on today's list are not only strong choices in singles, but they also still hold a commanding presence over the VGC metagame. Sure, Heavy Duty Boots may be the reason you're able to not fear hazards, despite running a team with multiple Stealth Rock weak Pokemon such as Tornadus Therian or Weavile. But outside of Smogon, this item has basically zero presence, so I could only justify ranking it at number 7 on today's list. At number 6 on today's list, we have none other than the Life Orb. The Life Orb is an item that boosts all damage you deal by 1.3 times in exchange for 10% of your health each time you attack. You will only lose health when utilizing moves that are either deemed physical or special. So even if you use a move such as Leech Seed or Toxic that deals damage to the opponent, these moves are completely unaffected by Life Orb. This item is typically best on sweepers such as Landorus Therian or Garchomp in order to boost their damage output every time they attack. While Life Orb's 10% health cost may seem a bit jarring at first, these Pokemon typically only need to use a handful of attacks in order to win games. Typically, you'll utilize a setup move such as Swords Dance or Nasty Plot on the first turn you're on the field, and then afterwards, you'll be able to knock out several Pokemon your opponent has, until you've either won the match or made it so they have no chance of winning themselves. Even if you use Earthquake 4 times and take 40% of your health doing so, making a game change from 5v6 to 5v2 because you took out 4 of the opponent's Pokemon is absolutely worth the health cost. With an item this powerful, it's honestly more shocking it only ended up reaching number 6 on today's list. Starting off the top half of today's list, I have one of the strongest items from Generation 7, Z Crystals. There isn't any reason to rank each Z Crystals individually, or I'd be using several entries on today's list for individual Z Crystals, so we'll discuss them all here. Z Crystals allow the holder to use a single powered up move at any given turn, as long as they only use one per game. I can have both my Garchomp and Tapu Koko hold a Z Crystal. But if I've used Groundium Z on Garchomp already, I can't use Spherium Z on Tapu Koko in the same match. Despite this, Z moves held a commanding presence over both singles and doubles. Z Crystals were honestly such a dominant item over the metagame that most teams typically would be built around what Z Pokemon they were utilizing. By narrowing down what Z Pokemon you were going to build around, you already cleared several other teammates off the board, because Z Crystals made so many Pokemon infinitely more viable in competitive play. Because you were only allowed to use one per game, typically a team would utilize this on their setup sweeper, such as Quiver Dance Volcarona or Swords Dance Garchomp. While it could be argued Z moves could be ranked higher, I decided to rank them lower because the other items up ahead have been some of the best items imaginable through several generations now, with not only very little drawbacks, while also functioning for more than a single use. Our number 4 option today is none other than the Choice Band. The Choice Band is one of our 3 choice items that will lock you into a move until switching out, while boosting a stat by 1.5 times. In this case, the Choice Band opts to boost your physical attack by 1.5 times. The Choice Band is typically utilized on breakers such as Galarian Darmanitan or Conkeldurr, as these Pokemon are typically able to ensure whatever move they lock into can OHKO several of the opponent's Pokemon. While it may seem like a bad idea to limit yourself to only a single move, this can typically be made up for among whatever partners you give these choice Pokemon. For example, if you're using a Galarian Darmanitan, by pairing yourself with a Pokemon that can take out Steel and Water types, you'll be able to use a Choice Band boosted Icicle Crash until your opponent loses the rest of their team. Even without their partners though, a lot of Choice users have proper coverage in order to handle switch-ins to their stabs. Galarian Darmanitan, for example, can just use Earthquake in order to handle common switch-ins to Icicle Crash. In the hands of someone who can predict an opponent's switches properly, choice items are some of the most deadly items in the game, making it no surprise Choice Band managed to secure number 4 on our list. Coming in at number 3, we have another choice item, this time being the Choice Specs. The Choice Specs is our specially offensive counterpart to the Choice Band, boosting special attacks by 1.5 times. I decided to rank Choice Specs one stage above Choice Band, mostly due to the fact that special attackers have less ways to actually affect their special offense, as that's truly only limited to screens, which can also affect physical attackers or the Assault Vest. Choice Specs, similarly to the Choice Band, is typically best utilized on breakers. Pokemon such as Blacephalon or Gengar are some of the strongest Choice Specs users in the entire game. As far as the Choice Specs goes, you'd basically want to take the same approach as running a Choice Band. With Gengar, for example, you can try to force your opponent to switch into a Dark or Normal type Pokemon, and then attack them with a Choice Specs Focus Blast in order to take them out. Due to the lack of an ability such as Intimidate to lower special offense, Choice Specs users, in my eyes, are basically a step above Choice Band users, due to the fact these Pokemon are typically harder to stop from breaking your team once they've entered the field. Despite being such a terrifying offensive item, we still have 2 items that have managed to surpass the Choice Specs, which is why I've ranked it at number 3 on our list. The second item on today's list has withstood the test of time, being one of the oldest held items in all of competitive Pokemon, being the Leftovers. Leftovers have been around since Generation 2, allowing the holder to regain 1/16 of their health every single turn. This item has absolutely zero drawbacks, unlike items such as the Choice Band or Life Orb, for example, where you have an actual consequence running them. Leftovers are basically the item you'll throw onto a Pokemon that you either don't really need an item slot for, or aren't sure what exactly to run. Some strong users of this item, though, would be Pokemon such as Aegislash or Rotom Wash, who especially benefit due to the access to a way to gain their HP back. One of the strongest upsides to Leftovers is the way it allows Pokemon, which typically lack a way to recover health, a means of doing so. For Pokemon that lack a move such as Soft-Boiled or Synthesis, utilizing Leftovers is the best way to actually stay healthy during a match. Despite the small increment of health you'd obtain each turn, this boost is a way to avoid relying on less consistent moves such as Pain Split or Rest that would have a potential drawback while using them. Leftovers can be paired with the moves such as Protect, in order to give yourself an extra turn to recover some of your health back. With how low of a risk you'd have running Leftovers, this item has easily earned a spot at number 2. Our number 1 option on today's list is our final choice item, being the Choice Scarf. While functioning the same way as the others, Choice Scarf actually boosts your speed stat by 1.5 times, instead of an offensive stat like our previous choice items did. Despite not boosting an offensive stat, the Choice Scarf has a distinct advantage over the other options. This is due to the fact that ensuring you can attack first is typically more important than dealing more damage than your opponent. For example, if I'm running a choice-banded Conkeldurr, it doesn't matter if I can OHKO my opponent's entire team if they are always going to bring in Tornadus Therian to revenge your Conkeldurr. Even outside of how important speed is, Choice Scarf allows naturally slower Pokemon to outpace even your opponent's fastest threats. For example, with a Choice Scarf, Landorus Therian is able to outpace even Pokemon such as Calyrex Shadow Rider, which has a base speed stat of 150. Choice Scarf is probably the easiest way to catch your opponent by surprise while requiring very little effort from your end. With this in mind, it's easy to see why the Choice Scarf managed to secure number 1 on today's list. That brings us to the end of our top 10 held items list. This is my personal rankings of all the held items we have access to in Gen 8. And if you disagree, make sure you leave your list down below, as I'd love to see what you guys have come up with. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe for more top 10 content like this, as it is the best way to show me that you want to see more. Welcome back to the outro, folks, your favorite part of the video. Thank you for enjoying another Mystic Umbreon video. We made it through the end of the 8th generation, and now we begin the long trek into late 2022 where Pokemon Scarlet and Violet await us. It's a whole new world we'll live in, but we still gotta catch them all. However, there's still a ton of videos to do and experiences to have until then. If you're interested in more Mystic content, check out my TikTok and the Mystic Umbreon Shorts YouTube channel. If we get the 10k followers on TikTok, I'll be doing the Viewer's Choice video. If you like Genshin Impact, check out my Genshin channel Teibachinary. So if you all enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. See you next time.